Listen. So there's been a bunch of movies that have come out that I've caught in theaters or in VOD, but by the time I finally collect all the footage to make a video on it, 417 new releases have been released. So considering we're about to hit like 250 movies this year alone, I figured the best way to cover a lot of the smaller movies or ones I may not have enough to make a full video on with these little wrap-up LMEs. It's kind of going to be similar to the must-watch list that we've made in the past, if you've seen those, and those are something we want to continue to do here on LME Monthly, so you have all our recs in one place. But with these, I want to jump around between 4 or 5 movies. I want to have the timestamp there so you can skip around for the ones that interest you the most, or just sit back and hear our thoughts on all of them. Especially the one that was produced by a 10-year-old. Let me explain. So 2019 pretty much has everybody swapping bodies for some reason, but none of them has a teenager pitching the story, producing the movie, and then acting in it. Story revolves around a little girl who gets bullied in school and swears that when she gets older, she's going to be the bully to everybody else, and that way she won't get picked on. And while that may not be the best plan spiritually, she makes it. This woman's running her own tech company. She's yelling at people for just thinking about bread. She's so uptight. She's tweaking to her assistant just because her slippers were 3 centimeters off from her bed. I'm not gonna lie, I would still work for Regina Hall in a minute. Hijinks obviously ensue, and a spell is put on her by another little girl magician who curses her with being little again in order for her to learn a lesson about being a bully. Now, I haven't seen Blackish yet since, again, I'm behind 478 shows, so I only knew Miss Martin here from the meme that I'm sure most of us have used, but supposedly she was able to get the creator of the show to set up a meeting with the Will Packer himself, strutted in there, pitched her idea, and a couple years later it ended up being on the big screen. Meanwhile, I second guess asking for no pickles in the drive-thru. Now, in terms of being the youngest executive producer in Hollywood history, I can't give enough praise to that, Whether people like this movie or they completely hate it and it gets forgotten, what matters is that this is just a stepping stone to the great things she's going to be able to accomplish with this much of a head start. That said, it was just a stream it for me. Listen, I think it has solid parts. The entire cast, including Marsai herself, is mad talented, especially when it comes to comedy. For those who haven't seen Issa Rae's show Insecure, y'all should probably watch Issa Rae's show Insecure. Not only are we talking about one of the best writers out right now, but in terms of producing, Issa has her own Patreon where she helps fund creators whose stories aren't being told. Tove Bell is a comedian who not only kills it with his stand-up, but is the literal best part of the Netflix show Disjointed with the way that they cover PTSD. And Regina Hall's been hilarious since the Scary Movies. The thing is, though, comedy is all about timing. I think there are a lot of great jokes in the movie, but the problem is that, unlike these actors' previous projects, this one is lit more like an AT&T commercial. If they would have just trimmed the editing a little bit or cut to a reaction shot quicker, all these little frames that truly affect the delivery of a joke, it would have been better. Like, we all know great jokes that probably we can tell better, but sometimes you have your friend who says it and it just doesn't hit the same. That's kind of what happened with this movie. Maybe if the writer didn't have to get harassed for a transphobic joke she didn't even write but got ad-libbed on set, and the humor would be more focused. How there's even a scene where Regina licks an apple and makes this dude eat it as if she's the baker from Matilda or something. She's not disgusting. This man clearly ate worse things that day. So I definitely think the movie has potential and it has a message, but I ended up laughing at the wrong parts. Like, they really had Regina Hall wake up as a little girl, and for whatever reason, she didn't notice that everything was just way shorter. Like, wasn't she just complaining and noticed that her slippers were 3 centimeters too far? How are you not gonna notice you're missing 2 feet from your line of vision? They even have her put on her glasses at the end of the day. Like, did she not notice everything was blurry when she went out in public? In her pajamas? The writers ain't tense, so I don't know what was happening there. Overall, for me, it stands as a stream it, but I'm still always interested in seeing what these specific creators are going to do next. Now, Missing Link is Laika's new film where the stop-motion fur looks like freaking tamarindo pelones. It's pretty much their Sherlock Holmes if he went into uncharted territory, if he was out there looking for Bigfoot and a bunch of other creatures nobody believes existed. And while I am usually a bigger fan, I'm not sure how many agree with this, but I like seeing the making of with stop-motion more than the animation itself, if that makes sense to anybody. But that usually depends on the story. Something like Coraline or the old Wallace and Gromit, I'm in there 100%. With this This one, they're able to slip in some adult themes in there, some jokes. The biggest part of the storyline isn't so much the discovery of new species, but the idea that there's these two groups that want to suppress them because they're worried about how it will change their lives. You know, it's talking more about elitism, and that's all great, but then there's like the other 80% of the movie.
Here, now, throw this rope over the wall.
I personally give it a rent it.
What a wonderful world.
Wonder Park was interesting because it started off as a solid rent it for me, because as weird as it was to have an amusement park run by animals, right? That's what the trailer pitched. The entire intro takes the up searching route with the mom. You know, things being shot like the tree of life as the camera's maneuvering throughout the house in a long take, and they have all these crazy inventions that you're seeing because that's how the mom and the daughter have related to, you know? The daughter thinks she's Phineas and Ferb and she's creating all these crazy roller coasters in the backyard, and all these crazy things are happening between the family that's super loving, and then the mom dies of cancer. I was like, damn. Then the rest of the movie happens and you realize that it's more on the kids side. I'm not one to say that animation is for kids, but sometimes they made animation for nobody else but children. There's a bunch of wacky lines in the second half, but what really caught me off guard wasn't that the movie just tanked in its creativity. It was more so that I get to the credits and realize there was absolutely no director. And I searched it up and it turns out the guy directing a family-friendly motion picture following a child was a creepo. Stream it? Finally is the third in the trilogy that was currently adapted for a live-action scene in Game of Thrones, and I actually had an entire 15-minute LME for the franchise, but like I said, with wanting to make these types of videos, is that I definitely have a bunch of notes, audio, even edits halfway done, but then, like, I get caught up with it and I'm never able to finish it, so doing something like this would be a lot easier, especially because I still want to talk about it. This is a franchise where I like all three of them. I still think number 2 is the best, and it got robbed at the Oscars, but I love how this series grew with its viewers, you know? Like Toy Story kids going to college at the same time Andy was in 3. Monsters Inc. kids with university. And it's an animated series where each one has made well over $500 million. It has its own TV series, games, theme park ride, and it all started with a book with those sweet, ripped edge pages. Damn, I miss Scholastic book fairs. But of course, the best part with these characters and the story is the journey, you know? You begin with following this Houston One Productions looking kid in the beginning who goes through like a David and Goliath type storyline, you know? He's considered to be too weak amongst a village known for freaking killing dragons. And to think that this is the kid who has the audacity to pitch to them that they should befriend the creatures that they've hated for years is wild. On top of that, it's a whole roller coaster of emotions. This kid loses both of his parents. The animal that killed one of them and disabled him is also his best friend. It turns out his mama's also been alive the whole time. His uncle is gay, pushing more boundaries. It goes all over the place. I may prefer other animated franchises, but this one, without a doubt, is probably the most mature one out there, with each one hitting emotions and none of them being duds. And just like many other properties in 2019, it's crazy to think that this has come to an end. You know, there's always the spin-offs and things that happen, but just looking at it and looking at all the releases with this one and Endgame and Toy Story and Game of Thrones, 2019's becoming this depressing year of saying goodbye. But I'll save that for another video. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Which of these stood out to you the most? What other movies you want me to cover? Like I said, there's so many things, and being able to make an individual video for all of them is not going to be the case. And I especially don't want to make like an individual video if I don't fully like the show or movie. So this may be a better way to just kind of lump my thoughts all into one, but not overly hate one thing over another, and, you know, kind of give praises to things that may not be perfect. But yeah, if you like this type of style, if you've seen the must-watch videos that I definitely want to bring back for just having like a list of my recommendations out there, then let me know. Maybe you don't like this. Don't worry. I'm still making regular Let Me Explains the same way that I've been getting on the live stream. Some of you may not know I live stream every Monday, and people go like, stop doing the live streams, do the other videos. I was like, it better the live stream than nothing. Again, better I do these more wrap-up videos and not have talked about How to Train Your Dragon or a bunch of these other movies. But I don't know, maybe the bigger that we get with the more people that we're able to get to help edit, then maybe we will be able to make more of the individual videos, but we'll see. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and you too can get executively produced by LME.